Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we're continuing our playthrough of Lufia and the Fortress of Doom, covering up until we save Jerin. Before we get to all of that, how was everyone's week?
I think I'm getting sick. I woke up and my throat felt a little weird, and then I coughed up some really gross stuff.
Ew.
I don't want to be sick. I don't get PTO at my job.
Ugh.
It's not fun. I think I'm also getting sick. Last night I was the coldest one in the room, and that doesn't happen to me. So I think I was developing a fever or something.
No.
I feel kind of better today, but I mean, it's -2 outside, so like it's always just fucking cold and nobody feels good. So I don't know if I'm like sick or it's cold and my nose hurts sick right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I describe it as sick necessarily, but I'm at the tail end of the last week or so having a sty on one of my eyelids. That sucked. Just waking up one day and being like, oh wow, my eyelid's really swollen, and anytime I blink it hurts, and I can barely see, out of that eye, and after a day I was like, this will probably be fine, and then someone was like, you should go to urgent care just in case, because this could be other things. So I was like, okay, so I did. And I'm glad I did, both because they gave me some ointment that I've been using as antibiotic ointment to help make this go faster, ? Hopefully it cleared it faster because of the ointment. But also because when I was talking to the doctor there, she accidentally gave me gender euphoria because she was talking about the ointment to me, and she was like, okay, yeah, so you just apply it under... It's basically just like applying eyeliner. Like, as a way of just being like, oh yeah, this is just how it works to me. And I was like, yes, I definitely apply eyeliner regularly. And then at some point she was like, saying like, and after that, just treat it like you have mascara on. You got to be careful about your eye. And I'm just like, the fact that she was using like general makeup terms at me as like let me explain how this eye ointment works was just like she just assumes I wear makeup day to day. That makes me happy.
Good. I love that for you.
But yeah, that's I also ran this last week. I ran my first TTRPG session I've run in a month and a half, I think, after I took my big break from TTRPGs because which I'm still technically taking because I had to pause a bunch of games. Mm-hmm. I felt good to go back to my mask game for at least a session. It was a fun special session where I got to bring in someone who's not normally a player. One of my girlfriends has come in twice before to play a villain, and she got to come in. This is like the last of a trilogy of her bringing in her villain character. And it was just we had a ton of fun. I was very worried about being rusty, and I think I was to some extent. But the banter and the vibes between the whole party was just delightful.
Good.
Nice. Man, it's been so long since I've played a TTRPG. I like them, though.
They're very good.
I haven't played any since Sam and I and some other people were playing Lasers and Feelings.
Those are good. We should do that again, except the reason that we stopped was not because anybody wanted to, but because half the people moved to working nights and it just couldn't work anymore.
Yeah. Scheduling is hard.
It's really hard. My weekly Pathfinder game that I've been doing for a while now, we played on Tuesday, and in the chat, everything said 56 days ago. And we were like, oh shit, we're really bad at weekly. It's like those were the holiday months, but it's still kind of insane for it to be our weekly game, and we hadn't played in 56 days.
Mm-hmm.
You're still doing better at weekly than Book Club no Kaseki.
Oh, absolutely. But speaking of really long RPGs, I shortly after we recorded last week, I rolled credits on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Nice.
Oh,
and
congrats.
It was very, very cool, and it was very, very hype. And so when I finished the first game, all of the things that were different from the original made me be like, I wonder what this means. Here are all of my theories. This time I'm like, I have no idea what this means, and I am buckled in to see what the fuck happens next. And it's kind of an completely opposite feeling, but still a positive anticipation feeling. But it's not like I'm trying to guess what's next. It's just like what do you mean there's a third of this game left? I need to see what the fuck is happening.
I honestly, I love it when I come out of media like that, because I just feel like it's delightful to not have to just come out of something enjoying it and not having to think about it.
Yeah.
As much as I love thinking about things.
In proper Sam form, so one of the final bosses is Demon Wall, right? Because the game ends at the ancient temple. And so I was getting my butt kicked in Demon Wall, and I had gotten my butt kicked right before it with something. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I was getting my butt kicked so hard. So I looked up online, and everybody was like, yeah, this boss is kind of a nothing burger, and it's really easy to just get through. Just watch out for his blah blah blah, and you'll take him down. And I was like dying in 2 seconds. So
were you watching out for his blah blah blah?
I was watching out for his blah blah blah. It's like it's basically like, okay, this boss, he has attacks. You should dodge them. It was basically all of the stuff they were giving me. Like with Demon Wall, the way they rebirthify it is there's 2 of them on either side of the room, and they're smushing in, and so you keep losing space. And they're like, watch out with all of their AoE spells when you start to lose space, and be fine. I'm like, but I can't do that. Like, that's ridiculously hard. So I complained to Maddie, and Maddie was like, yeah, I didn't have any problem with it. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And Maddie's like, are you using your combo attacks? And I'm like, oh, the combo limit breaks? Absolutely. And she goes, no, the ones on R1. I'm like, there's moves on R1? I beat almost the entire game on medium. I kicked it to easy at the end because I wanted to see what was happening next, and I kept dying to random shit. But I got all the way to Demon Wall on normal, playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and not playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I don't know if that means I'm good or if that means I'm really bad.
I think it means both. I need to get back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but I'm scared because I've definitely forgotten how the game works. But I think Chadley has tutorial fights you can redo, so maybe that'll help me.
Yeah. But yeah,
God bless Chadley.
I learned about the core feature of this game about 2 hours before it was over,
incredible.
And it's a 75-hour game.
Absolutely incredible. That's a me-ass move.
And it's like not a me move. I would figure that shit out early.
And it's not like I was ever having like a lot of trouble. I would hit like some wall bosses, but I'd be able to see what I was doing wrong, like with the Dark Souls of it all. Like, oh, these are their patterns, and here's how I block it, and here's what I need to do at each of these things. And so I would do that, but I just wouldn't be doing as much damage as everybody else. So I would have to be dodging these attacks 200 times when most other people dodged it 40 times.
So really, I think that does make the case that you are the better gamer here.
Yeah. I accidentally gave myself a challenge run because I didn't press the other button. To be fair, when one of the first ones you get doesn't work like the rest of them, you have to like charge it up. It's whoever the spell caster is, usually Aerith, but I think there's also one for Yuffie and Red 13. I barely use them, so but they like wind up a pitch of a magic spell, and they throw it at Cloud, and Cloud hits it with his sword at the bad guy. And that one is like a timing challenge, and if you get hit in the middle of it, it cancels it, and it's a lot of stuff. And I'm like, oh, these are like Paper Mario things, and I'm not going to mess with them because every time I do it, it's like not worth it. I could get in there and hit off several ATB things by the time that happens, and I don't need this shit. And then Maddie was like, "Oh yeah, that one sucks. The rest of them are just like instants, and they also teleport that party member to right next to you. So if you see them like standing in the fire and they need to get out of the fire, you can use that to keep your party members alive." And I'm like, this sounds like it would have been really, really useful. But yeah, the game's good. I big recommend.
I love hearing a video game is good.
Yeah.
I prefer when video games are good to when they're bad.
Me too. So for something,
And those are bad in interesting ways.
True. Yes.
for something right in the middle, let's talk about Lufia and the Fortress of Doom.
Yes. So, my notes aren't very long because didn't play a ton, but also did play a fair bit because there's lots of dungeons,
There's a lot of dungeons.
which I think is probably how the rest of this game is going to go. So, on the way to Ulfreya, the party stops in the village of Kirov. This is a JRPG, so the town is probably going to have a problem we have to solve before we can progress. Sure enough, the local item shop owner's daughter, Reina, has fallen ill, and no medicine seems to help. Her boyfriend, Mark, says the Kingdom of Medan has a gem called the Hope Ruby, which can make any wish come true, and he's going to go get it so they can use it to cure her. Mark heads for the castle town of Medan, and the party follows because why not? Just about everyone there talks about the castle's Hope Ruby because that's what this scenario is about. As the party approaches the castle, they run into Mark, who says he wanted to ask the king if he could borrow the Hope Ruby, but the king wouldn't even see him. I don't know why he needs to take the Hope Ruby to Kirov instead of just making a wish here, but whatever.
Maybe there's a limit on the wish distance.
But later there's going to be a line about how the Hope Ruby generates tourism, so I guess you have to make a wish.
Well, I mean, everybody
that has to do with the people that came on the trip with you.
Did you find the basement under the Hope Ruby?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know about that part.
Okay, because you have to toss a coin in. That's how it works.
Yeah, but I'm saying he could toss a coin in at the castle.
Well, yeah, but people who come and tourist it, they can, if the wish can only do something locally, there's still, you can take some problems you can take with you.
Yeah, I take problems with me a lot.
Same.
Mark runs off and the party heads inside because, well, they'll probably be able to progress the whole Hope Ruby scenario by doing that. The Hope Ruby stands in the castle surrounded by a pool of water, and you're supposed to toss coins into the water and make your wish. The party wanders into the basement and overhears the princess talking to someone gathering the coins, and she says how the Hope Ruby is just made of glass and has no magical powers, and this is all just a scam to get coins.
I love this.
Yes.
These are pre-inflation coins, so it's she's making bank. It's not like 75 cents.
Yeah. The princess says she wishes the Hope Ruby was broken. If the party tries to go into the room where the princess is, the guy she's with stops them. And I'm like, I don't understand how this works because there's a pool of water on the first floor and you toss coins in there, but this guy's collecting coins from a pool of water on the basement. How are the coins getting from the pool of water up top to the pool of water at the bottom without the water falling as well? I don't understand the physics of this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre.
But it works.
Apparently it works. It's the magic of the Hope Ruby.
Yeah. So this scenario doesn't change. None of the scenes are different, but it's a lot weirder if you didn't find Raina's house in the first town. So I went around, saw it was a really tiny town. I saved, I bought some items, and I went on my merry way. And so then I get here and I get to the bottom and I see the scene with the princess, and then I'm like, okay, she wants it broken. Obviously the scenario is not there's a sick kid that I need to help steal the Hope Ruby. The scenario is I need to break this Hope Ruby somehow. And so because I've played a bit of Lufia 2, I was like, oh yeah, I can throw a knife at it. I'm like, no, I can't. That's the wrong fucking game. What am I supposed to do? And it took me a long time to realize that I missed something at the previous town.
Yeah, this game has a little bit of old school JRPG in it where it doesn't tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that, but also
I
sometimes
too.
I don't.
Yeah. I wish that the thing with Reina, the thing that kicked it off, would not have just been in some random dude's house. If that would have like started in an item shop, something
It
like
is in
that.
the item shop.
It is in the item shop.
But it's like around the back. It's not like in the front where you like
He doesn't keep his
interact with it,
sick
yeah.
daughter in the shop proper.
Yeah, like if he would have been in the front of the shop when you walk in there and you try to talk to him, and then there's coughing from the back. He's like, "Hold on, I have to go," and you go back there, and then it takes you or something, some way to let you know that this isn't just set dressing, and all of that. I think would be greater, but this is an old RPG, and why am I not talking to every NPC?
You've got to talk to every single
You
NPC.
gotta.
You have
in
to.
this game you do.
Yeah, I because I was procrastinating. I had to play a lot and so I was like speeding through it, and so I wasn't talking to every NPC, which then made me waste a lot of time. So talk to every NPC, folks. Don't be like me. And also press R1 and see what that does, just in case.
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? You throw a grenade accidentally and it blows up and kills you.
Yeah.
That probably won't happen in Lufia.
No. Lufia 2? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. As the party leaves the castle, Mark runs past them. A guard passing by says the Hope Ruby was stolen. Gasp! The party heads back to Kirov to find Mark because apparently this whole deal with the Hope Ruby is their business and has anything at all to do with them. When they arrive, Mark tells them Reina has disappeared. He asks the party to help him find her and lets slip that he was the one who stole the Hope Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
So the party agrees to help, and asking around town, they hear that Reina was seen heading towards a nearby haunted cave. But no one stopped her, including the guy who stands guard at the cave. He was apparently unable to stop a sickly 10-year-old from entering. Awesome guard.
When the captain of the guard, who's currently with you and probably outranks him, could not get past.
Well, he's the captain of the guard somewhere else, but yeah.
Speaking of guards, though, I do... so you mentioned how the party's just following the Hope Ruby because... why not? It's something to do in a JRPG. If you do talk to every NPC, because I found this because I was lost and did not know what I was doing. If you go into the cave to continue on your way to Elfreya, you can't get through, and the guard's like, "Oh, sorry, only the king will let you through," or something like that. And so they send you back to Medan to then stumble upon the Hope Ruby segment. So that there is some slight guidance on where to go, but you're mostly just doing the thing because it's the thing you have to do in this town.
Yeah. Also, we know that Reina is 10 years old because there's an NPC in Kirov that says, it's an old lady, and she says, Reina just turned 10. I wish I could switch places with her. Not, I wish I was young too. I wish I could switch places with her. She wants Reina to be old and near death.
Is this old lady one of the Sinistrals?
The party heads into the depths of the cave and finds Reina, but then a scary ghost monster appears. It kidnapped Reina or something. It says, at last, the Hope Ruby will be its. And I realize that sentence doesn't work if you use its instead of his or hers, because English is weird.
Yep.
Anyway, the party defeats the Phantom in a difficult battle. Lufia says the ghost that kidnapped Reyna was the cause of her illness or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes the writing in this game is vague.
Yeah, it implies that she was possessed, and that's why medicine and everything like that wasn't working, is because it was supernatural in nature.
Yeah. Maybe that's what's happening to me.
Maybe so.
Oh no.
Did you steal the Hope Ruby?
No.
Okay. Did you break the Hope Ruby?
Yes.
Oh, then yep, that's the one. You're possessed. Sorry.
But the Hope Ruby did get broken in the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Mark was probably the one holding on to it, and Mark wasn't in the battle because he's 10. So I don't know how the Hope Ruby got broken. But Lufia tells Mark to apologize to the princess, and everything should work out fine. The party returns the children to Kirov and tells them they're heading for Elfreya. Mark says you can't get into Elfreya without an elf in your party, but he heard there's an elf in the town of Belgen. Saying you need someone in your party is actually a normal thing to say. It's a little odd, but it's to say party instead of group, but it does work. But I find it funny because this is a JRPG, and in a JRPG, a party means something very specific and outside the game, sort of. Anyway, the party's like, well, let's go to Belgen. But if you go back to Medan, you get an optional scene where the princess tells the people that the Hope Ruby was a fake. She says that the country used to be rich in gemstone mines, but when the mines were emptied, they survived on tourism, which is why they fabricated the Hope Ruby story to attract tourists. The princess asks the people's forgiveness, and they all state their determination to work together to make Medan prosper without the Hope Ruby and make their wishes come true on their own. Yay!
Yeah. She could have just levied taxes to get the same amount of money.
That probably wouldn't have been popular.
Yeah, but I don't think scamming everyone out of the money is just as good.
Well, I mean, their local industry dried up, so they needed something else to shore up the economy, so tourism.
Yeah.
But apparently they could have just worked hard in order to fix the problem with the local economy being fucked up. I don't know. Economics is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you don't have to get that scene because I didn't get that scene, but it was in the long play I'm watching.
Yeah.
I did. I got that scene.
Nice. You're better at the video game than me.
Waha!
Yeah, and that's where you explicitly get the permission to go through the Eastern Cave from the soldiers. Is the princess is like, oh, I know that you helped out, blah 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 blah. I'll tell them about you so you can get through.
Yeah, the way this scenario played out for me is I just went straight to the cave because I figured Belgen was to the east. And so I just went straight to the cave, and then there were guards in the cave, and I talked to them, and they were like, oh yeah, the princess gave us permission to let you through. And I was like, oh, I guess I needed the princess's permission to get through. Anyway, after all this, the party arrives in Belgen, and they find that the townsfolk are on edge because there have been a bunch of monster attacks recently. And they offered a girl named Jerin as a sacrifice to the monsters. She's on a dais far outside town now, waiting for a monster to come get her. The party can't stand for that. They meet a girl who says she was going to be taken by the monsters, but Jerin offered herself in her place. The girl says her brother is guarding the key to the dais, which is, for some reason, held deep in a cave, and that he'll give it to them if they ask. We go through the cave and get the key, then go through a different cave to get to the dais. This is a lot of gameplay I just summed up in one sentence.
It's quite a bit.
It's
a hefty amount.
There's like an hour and a half or so.
There are guards there who stop the party from going to get Jerin. When the party sees her, they're like, weird, you can't really tell what age she is. Oh, that's because she's half elven, and they age different. Then a monster appears. It grabs Jerin and flies away towards a tower in the north called North Tower, and again, things have great names.
Mm-hmm.
The party ventures through the tower and reaches the top, where the monster says it's trying to revive Aemon, the Sinistral of Terror, and this girl is the key. Oh no! The party fights the monster, which keeps healing itself, which is annoying.
It's so
Mhm.
annoying. It really was noticeable when I was really struggling and almost died, and then I like loaded a save state from like 5 turns earlier, and just the fact that instead of healing like it did the first time, this time around it chose not to do that. I killed it in like 1 round after that. I was like, are you kidding me? I was that close?
You have to keep your damage output up. You can't just whittle him down because he keeps healing.
He keeps healing, but he also does a lot of damage, so
He
you
does.
do need to take breaks from damage to heal.
Yeah.
And so far, the healing
fight.
in this game isn't great.
No. I'm waiting to get
pretty
that second level heal
stinky.
spell.
Yeah, we're stronger. Can I get stronger, please?
You have
Yes.
to
The
get through
spell?
harder, better, and faster first.
Oh, I see. Good point.
Yeah, I had a bit of a trouble with this guy, but I am using items to heal, and they're real strong. So
Items can be better, yeah. Like
Yeah.
the second level potion, which you can get some at this point, is really good at healing.
Oh yeah, no, high potions are great. I'm just running out of them.
Yeah. Can you buy them at this point?
I don't think you. Okay, I think by the end of where we were playing, yes, but earlier we could not.
Yeah, I think you can get them in Belgium. I think so. But yeah, so I have not been playing this game like a Dragon Quest because losing half your gold in this game where it drip feeds you gold fucking sucks. And your revives costing so fucking much.
Yeah.
Is ridiculous. So when I die and it's like, oh hey, we'll rush you back to town, I'll be like, I'm going to reload my save state because I want to be able to afford literally anything. When I was first starting out this game, before I got into my over leveling so that I can breeze through the game, I would like go out to do a couple of fights, and then Lufia would die, and I would go back to town to heal Lufia, and it's like, you can't afford to heal Lufia. So then I would have to go in solo fights as Totinos to be able to get enough money to bring Lufia back to life. And it was horrible, and I said, never again.
Understandable.
So we defeat the monster after a while, and Jerin is saved. She says, I'm so happy somebody saved me. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. The party takes Jerin back to Belgium. Jerin asks the party to take her with them, and now you might think the party needs an elf to get them into Elfraya, and they specifically came to Belgium because they heard there was an elf here. And granted, Jerin is only half-elven, but apparently she's the one they were looking for, so surely they would say yes.
Mm-mm.
But they say no, because it's too dangerous, even though they took the 10-year-old Mark into a haunted cave. So the party leaves without Jerin.
Yeah, they're like, no, it'll be too dangerous for you to go to the place that elves are welcome. Instead, we're going to leave you here in the town that tried to kill you. This town is absolutely more dangerous than the woods.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. I will say, having played a little bit ahead, I think there's an alternative explanation that that you're going to get soon that's going to make more sense than this one does.
Good.
It's just going to make Lufia seem like kind of a crazy bitch.
I mean, I already sort of think she is. But yeah, that's the end of this section. It wasn't very long, but we did have to do a lot of dungeoning.
There was a lot of dungeoning. And now time for memorable moments.
put this duology up against the Golden Sun duology because we were like, hey, they both have Zelda puzzles in their dungeons.
Mhm.
And it turns out Lufia 1 does not. That's only a thing in Lufia 2.
Mhm.
However, Lufia 1 does have extremely big, complex, interesting dungeon design.
I was gonna say the dungeon design in this game is really good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm comparing it even to, you know, the other Super Nintendo greats, like, say, Final Fantasy VI. And no offense to Final Fantasy VI, fantastic game. I'm not saying this is anything bad about it, but the dungeons just aren't as interesting as in Lufia 1.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can definitely tell from the level design here that this team was like, this is cool. We need to add overworld tools so that we can do even more cool level design stuff. Like, this is, without being Zelda puzzles, these are very good dungeoneering puzzles. I especially liked the one, I don't remember if it was this week or last week, but with the invisible bridge you had to walk over.
Yes, it was this week. That
Yeah.
was really good.
That was really good.
It was just entirely communicated. There was no NPC to tell you. Actually, well, there was an NPC to tell you, but that was a bit away. But there was just the environmental design showing you, hey, this is clearly how you do this.
Yeah.
And it was cool to figure out. You feel smart.
And the NPC that tells you, all he says is, "This place is crazy. Don't trust everything you see," which
is a good
is
hint.
a very, very obscure, not direct hint. So it's not like it was on Front Street. You still had to figure it out, and it was very cool.
Agreed. So agreed. Also, I just like the whole Hope Ruby scenario. I mentioned briefly in the recap section, but just like, I don't know. That's I don't expect a story like that out of a random side thing in a Super Nintendo game. Maybe I need better expectations about my Super Nintendo games, but like, I don't know. This is a neat little side plot. And then it immediately following up with the Jerin one, which also isn't as interesting, but does it still have that kind of vibe of like, oh wow, this town was in such horrible shape that they're just like, yeah, we'll just sacrifice a kid. That seems like the best scenario. And everyone there is kind of like, yeah, we know this wasn't great, but what else are we gonna do?
Yeah. Both of these scenarios this week felt sort of like Dragon Questy. Not as good as they would have been in a Dragon Quest game, but they did sort of feel like something from a Dragon Quest game.
Yeah, I really liked it. When you named the stage a JRPG where you go to a series of towns and solve their problems that have nothing to do with the plot, I was like, yeah, Dragon Quest VII. that's the whole game. Do that for 100 hours and the game rules.
The game is 100 hours long and there's like 2 hours of plot.
Yeah.
And it's the best game ever made.
It's so good.
So my last two notes, I'm not sure if these are related to a town that we actually went to or if it's from the town that you go to next. So apologies if this is for the next town, but I have to. They're probably some of the most notable things I had, and they're definitely my mem moms, which are one, the shop that is both a item shop and a weapon shop and an armor shop, and it's just one dude, and you have to any area you go to, he has to run over to that counter to go see you. Delightful. And
I think that is in the next town. Yeah.
So
yes, I loved that.
So that bit is also in the first Shining Force, but in the Shining Force it goes one further. It is the item shop, the weapon shop, and the king. The king is the one that runs those things, and he runs back and forth. And so when I saw that here, it reminded me. I was like, oh, I love this bit. It's such a stupid, fantastic bit.
I feel, even though I haven't played Shining Force except the very beginning, of course, I feel like I've seen this somewhere in a JRPG, but I love it. It could be in every JRPG, and I would still love it.
The one thing that's coming to my head is there's in Dragon Warrior Monsters / Dragon Quest Monsters, the original. There's a dude who you trade the random collectible items you find tiny metals to, and he gives you stuff for every X tiny metals you give him, and he has the same sprite as the king. And I don't think the game ever outright says it's the same guy is the king, but it's heavily hinted they're the same dude.
Yeah, the people you trade in mini medals to they do sometimes be kings.
Apparently. God, that that's so funny with Shining Force. The other thing from that town is there's someone you can talk to who tells you about an island to the north called, if I remember correctly, the Isle of Abandon, which is an island where just things that people have thrown away or sold end up there, and your party members are like, wait, so you're saying everything that we had and got rid of on our journey so far is going to be on that island? He's like, yeah, probably. There's a good chance. And it's just like, I guess when we have a ship and are able to get to that island at some point, we should probably go there.
Yeah. Or you can buy back all of the stuff you didn't mean to sell.
I just, it's such a silly, it reminds me of, and this is the silliest thing to reference this to, but there's a thing from the Disney Channel original movie, Halloween Town 2. Thank you, Big Joel, for reminding me this exists.
Trappa.
But yes, exactly, Trappa. And the place where everything that's ever been lost goes. And I'm like, this is just a fun plot point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I heard that's how Amazon returns work. Like, you buy something from Amazon, you go to Kohl's, you return it, and they just dump it on an island instead of selling it again.
Probably so.
Because it's actually cheaper that way.
Mm-hmm. So, this is something that we did last week, but I didn't realize it until this week because I saw it in the LP that I read along with. But you know how we went to the old cave and it had like repeatable quests and shit?
Yes.
So that's a Lufia staple. It's called Ancient Cave everywhere where else. But the one in Lufia 2 I know is really cool because it's a popular speedrun category, because it's kind of like the island in Breath of the Wild where you lose all of your items and you have to start over sort of thing. They do that in the Ancient Cave, and then it's a roguelike where just in the middle of Lufia 2, there's a roguelike version of Lufia 2, and you just have runs and see as far as you can go in it. And that's really cool. This one is not. It's just a long dungeon. But
yeah, and you can go deeper into the dungeon as you go through the game.
Yeah.
Yep, they give you new missions every 5 levels. What I told one of my partners that was playing this game, she was like, "Do not feel the need to do the entirety of the Ancient Cave. Please trust me. It's not worth it." I was like, "Okay."
I also found my second Dragon Ball this week. So
me too.
Ooh, same here.
Yeah, I'm
going to be real disappointed if I don't find all of them, which is likely because it's very hard to get all the chests in a dungeon because the dungeons are big and complex.
Yeah, I accidentally stumbled my way through one of the towers that we did this week, and I happened to take the right thing every time. And then when it was over, they're like, "Oh, this tower was really bad. Follow me. Let's go back to town." And so I couldn't go back. I couldn't undo the fact that I was good at the game to go and find all the chests. So hopefully there wasn't another Dragon Ball in there, because I definitely did not explore a third of that dungeon.
I managed to do what I always like to do, which is take every wrong path first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this I love it.
So there is an instance in this week of Lufia being the worst. If you approach the Hope Ruby, she's like, "I'm gonna make a wish," and she throws in a coin, and she's like, "Totino's, ask me what I wish for." And Totino says, "What did you wish for?" And she says, "Hee hee, I'm not telling." And I'm like, "God damn it, Lufia." And one funny thing is that you can repeat this interaction by just approaching the Hope Ruby again. So it keeps happening, and Totino's just keeps playing along.
Even worse is there's so going up to the Hope Ruby, it doesn't trigger on the spot in front of the Hope Ruby. It triggers this on the spot one behind it. So if you're walking forward trying to break the Hope Ruby because you're bad at this game and did not know what you were supposed to be doing, you walk forward. She goes, I'm gonna make a wish, and you're like, okay. And then you step forward to do the Hope Ruby, and then you step one step back. She's like, haha, I'm gonna make a wish. So I saw that scene like 900 times because I kept trying to go and break this ruby.
This game can be a little silly, but I like it.
Me too. It is very delightful. The balance is out of whack even in the original, and it sounds like even in the restored patch. So someone should go through one more time and edit the numbers to make this as breezy as it wants to be. And then it would be an easy recommend for me.
I like this game. I think it's not, super great, but I can definitely see how these people would make a sequel to this game. It would be considered by a lot of people to be an absolute masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see that happening.
I think it is a fun, enjoyable 16-bit game. It is if you haven't played it before and you love this sort of game, I would be like, oh, you should definitely check this out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm very excited to get to Lufia 2 when we do.
Yeah, and Lufia 2 being the prequel and it being the part where all of the interesting stuff happens in the prologue. If you like this style of storytelling and you want to skip to Lufia 2, I won't hold it against you. But if you like to be thorough and you like weird little way too hard SNES RPGs, this one's pretty good.
Yeah.
But anything else about this week before we stop talking about this and start talking about bullshit for an hour?
I don't think so.
Nah.
Cool. So that will do it for the week. If you like what you heard today, head on over to www.rpgbook.club where you can donate to help support us. If you do, you'll get some extra benefits. At $1 a month, the Guide About tier gets access to our bonus feed, where we have after shows of every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show that are backer only. There are, I think, 3 to 4 JRPG canons coming soon. They would be done, but I threw my back out, so I was out of commission for a week. But I'm getting those done now, and so there will be extra bonus content coming up soon. So if you want to check those out and learn why you should play Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light for the Nintendo Entertainment System, then you should go check those out.
The Nintendo Famicom, surely.
True. Or the Nintendo Switch.
If
you're lucky.
If you bought it before
yes.
They vaulted it. Which that version's good.
Is. And it's one of the few, we hooked into the ROM to put in our own translation layer instead of doing a ROM hack re-releases that picked a good font. Usually they put an HD font, no offense to the Metal Gear Solid, not Metal Gear Solid, the Metal Gear 1 and 2 one on whatever Metal Gear Solid release it was. But the HD font on the MSX graphics is weird, and they don't do that in here. It actually looks good, and I love that. Love when font is good.
Yes.
At $5 a month, the Warrior tier gets all of the above, but I also say their names at the end of every episode like this. Shoutouts to Frosthair, Dragonslayer19, Kildronis, Freddy Rodriguez, Aaron524, and Jfro Prime. And then at $20 a month, the Luminary tier gets all of the above, plus a one-sentence shout-out to whatever it is that they're passionate about. Shoutouts to El Tantavi, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. Shoutouts to Vimke, who says, the lamps made lackluster, any real light. And shoutouts to It's Claire Time, who says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game, I just think it's neat. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye-bye.
Did you see the weird Switch 2 trailer?
I don't know what you mean. I think it was a very fine trailer. I have no. I don't know what you mean.
I don't know if
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay.
I'm being silly. Yes, I did see it, and I have seen the posts about it. It was you know,
All those erotic shots of ports
I
opening
was gonna.
up.
Yes, exactly. Uh, I have no complaints.